Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jenny will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. And today I have with me on this special bonus episode of the Six Figure Success Series, Brittany Buschette. Now, Brittany Buschette is a full-time registered nurse of 14 years. She's a mom of four with a 4-year-old, 2 6-year-olds, and yes, they are twins, and a 13-year-old. She's been happily married for over 10 years and lives in a small town in northern Minnesota. She came into the direct sales industry with zero experience in beauty or sales. She knew she wanted more for her family and knew that she wanted her nursing career and would not be able, or knew her nursing career would not be able to provide the life she wanted for her family. She's now found a great passion in leadership and showing others what's possible for their life once they start believing. Oh, I love that. Welcome to the show, Brittany.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Gosh, I'm so glad that we were introduced by Mary Kay Duffy Kemper. So for those of you who are longtime listeners of the show, my badass crew, you heard that episode back in 2023. And Mary Kay said, "Can I introduce you to some other six-figure people?" And I was like, yes, please. And Brittany was the very first one who hopped on board to be here for the Six Figure Success Series. So Brittany, tell us your story of going from being a full-time nurse and mom to, kiddos and twins and all of that, to adding in what has now become for you a 6-figure network marketing career.
Yes. Okay. So I actually wasn't even looking for this opportunity. I really feel like this opportunity found me. I started my journey here right after I had my twins. So our twins were born prematurely. I had them at 32 weeks. We were in the hospital. It was a lot of emotions. Being a NICU mom is really, really hard. One day things are good. Next day you're back 10 steps. And so having that journey really humbled me quickly that life is not to be taken for granted. And we were in the NICU for 27 and 34 days with the two of them. And so we had gotten out of the hospital about in February. And in March, I had a friend that asked me to come to a makeup party. And I thought, absolutely not. I am not doing that. And she said, "Brittany, you have not had a night or a moment to yourself. You are, I was nursing them. Nursing twins is a lot of work. But more importantly, we couldn't afford to not nurse them. I had no option. I was a salaried nurse. My husband was already working 40 plus hours. Plus we were building a house, and I really just didn't have any extra spending money, any extra anything. And she just said, "You need a night to yourself." So I went to this makeup party, and I always joke. I said, I don't know if it was the wine or if I actually looked that good, but I left there feeling so good. I hadn't felt amazing in a really, really long time. And I came home and I had lipstick on, and my husband was like, "You look really pretty." And then I couldn't get it out of my head. I just could not get it out of my head, thinking about the opportunity and thinking, gosh, could I do that? I had no business starting another business. We were literally living in my in-laws' basement, my in-laws' basement with newborn twins, and my son at the time was sick, and we were building our house. And I I just needed something. I needed something for me. You know, my husband worked all day. He worked 12-hour shifts, and then he'd come home and he'd work outside on our house until dark. And then I was just alone with the kids, and I was a mom and I was a nurse, and that was it. And I remember someone asked me, they go, "What do you do for fun?" And my instant reaction was, "Are moms allowed? Like, do we have hobbies? Do we have something for fun?" Like, I can't literally think of a single thing that I do for fun that doesn't involve taking care of my kids or working.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a huge thing that I want to focus on, because you are not the first, nor are you the only, and nor will you be the last mom to feel that way.
Yeah.
You know?
So
Oh my
it
gosh.
really was something that was, I just thought, well, maybe I should just try it. Maybe I should, maybe I should just give it a try. It'd be something fun for me. I pick my kids up from daycare. I'm done with work. My husband's working. I get them fed, get them laid down, and I have 2 to 3 hours where I'm doing nothing. I could do something that would be fun for me. And so it quickly turned into like my me time. It was kind of like my own form of therapy, of just having fun for myself and going live and putting on makeup and just being authentic and being my silly self. And people liked it. I just couldn't even believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, these people enjoy watching me. And I'm just literally trying to fill up my time and trying to do something fun for my life.
Oh my gosh. So that is such a great starter story, because you're not alone, right? You're not alone in that. And so 6 years ago, from the time that we're recording this, you hopped on board, literally almost 6 years to the month, it looks like, that you hopped on board. And so you started in your journey from 0 to 6 figures, right? Your first 6 figures, because I'm sure there's probably been more than that, right? So in that journey, what is it that you are really glad that you did that helped you get to that 6-figure mark?
So ultimately, I think deep down, I knew that I wanted to succeed. But if you admit it and you put it out in the universe that you want to succeed, then there's that fear of failure. So I never even kind of put it out there that I wanted to be successful. I really played it up as, I just want to have fun. I just want to have fun. But really, deep down, when you peel back those layers, I knew I wanted to be successful. I knew that I wanted to make an impact. I knew that I wanted more for my life. And, being a salaried nurse, and I don't get me wrong, I have a really good nursing gig. I have a really good nursing job. I love it. My husband has a really incredible job, but we were living on an income that was not going to provide the life that I wanted. I had to breastfeed so we could afford to feed our kids. And I knew that date nights were going to be non-existent. And I wanted to have a date night, period, with my husband without feeling guilty and feeling like we couldn't afford this. And so for me, it was a matter of believing in myself, a matter of just, I grew up in a small town, population 2,000, really tiny on the map. You wouldn't even know where it is. You might miss it if you drive through. And I just, in my mind, thinking I'm a nobody. I am not someone special. I've got not much to offer. But my mindset shifted when I started collaborating with women who were empowering. They were putting belief into me that I could have a different life, that I had the choice. And traditionally in society, you are taught to go out and get a job, and that is your life. They don't really teach you to look for opportunities to make your own life and to make your own path and to make your own money. And so the fact that I started to believe in myself that it was possible, that I could have a different life. I could have a life that I only dreamed of. And so once I started to believe in myself, I started to talk about it to people. I started to believe in other people. I had mentors that believed in me and saw something in me before I even saw it in myself. And so for me, I used that tool to every single person I talk to, even to this day. I believe in people. I see something in people. I see their special gifts, and I make sure that I tell them, you have something really special, whether it's in this industry, whether it's in this business, whether it's even in my children. I try to really be intentional about believing in them, because once you believe in yourself, you can do anything. And so that was just a huge, I mean, that was, I could see the shift in when I started treating my business from a hobby to a business. Because I think the first several months I kind of dilly-dallied around. I was a little bit nervous, afraid to put myself out there. I mean, I even went live one time and I took my family members out of my group because I got embarrassed. And I got in my own head. I pulled them out of my group because I was like, oh my gosh. And your family should be your number one supporters. They don't judge you. They love you unconditionally. But I got in my head for a minute. And then a couple weeks later, that phase passed. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to add them back in.
Yes, exactly. Well, I want to point out to people how important one of the things you said is, because obviously people are listening to this. They can't see the reaction I had when you brought up the fact that you stopped treating this as a hobby and started treating it as a business. Because one of the key identifying factors of success in direct sales is how people think about, talk about, and treat their business. And then it starts with that right there. And you hit on it all by your lonesome without someone having to tell it to you. So that is huge. That's amazing. I love that. So that belief aspect is also super important for people. So I'm so glad you're sharing this, because that's a really important piece to get to that level of success that people want. So we have treat your business like a business. We have belief in yourself, belief in your company, belief in the people that you're talking to and their ability to do this. What are some of the obstacles, or what's the biggest obstacle you faced on your journey to your first six figures?
Well, leaders go first. That is the number one recommendation that I can put out there is leaders go first. I will never, ever ask my team or ask someone to do something that I am not willing to do myself. And so leaders always go first. They show up at the forefront. They show up in the trenches. They are always going to be leading the way. And I firmly believe that, whether you work your business belly to belly, or you work your business on social media, you work your business through, however you do that, you just have to go first. You have to lead with your heart. You have to lead with belief. You have to lead with passion and really showing the potential. I know for me, when I started to see my checks climb, I remember my first $400 check, it was my second or third month in. And I had said to my husband, I said, what if I made $500 extra a month? How crazy would that be? And then my next check was $674. And I remember looking at him and saying, oh my gosh, what if I made $1,000 a month? And he's like, that's crazy. And then it was like, honey, I'm making $2,500 a month. What if I could make $5,000 a month? And so it was seeing the slow progress month by month, but then knowing the potential that was out there if I just keep showing up and I keep leading by example and I keep teaching everyone else to lead by example and do what I was doing. And then I just remember thinking, Colin, I'm going to make $10,000 a month. Can you believe that? And it was the potential. It was seeing the checks climb, and it was seeing me bringing people along with me. But as far as the obstacles, I am a really big person on color personalities and knowing what motivates people, because I know what I'm motivated by, and I know what gets me going. And that's not every single person. And that is something huge to know with your leaders, because I know certain leaders that I go to and I can say, hey, do you want to make this much money this month? If you do, we've got to do these things. And that could either A, really drive them to move forward, or B, totally shuts them down because they're not motivated by money. Yeah. However, that particular leader, if I could have went to them and said, hey, we're going for a really big promotion this month. If your team could do this month, you'd be helping me out so much. It'd be done, because she's a yellow personality. And I know that. And so that's not even just your team, your downline. That's also your customers. If I go to my customers and say, we have a big sale today, do you want to shop? Not really. They don't really need it. But if I were to go to them and say, hey, I have a goal that I'm going for this month and your order would really help me out, they would do it. So that's where I think color personalities are so important, not just for your team, not just for your business, but also for your customers.
Absolutely. Are you talking about the color personalities from Tom Schreiter? Oh my gosh. Yeah. And again, for those of you who can't see what we're doing, because nobody can see what we're doing, because this is not a video podcast yet. Hint, hint, wink, wink. I just pulled and showed Brittany the Tom Schreiter book, the Big Al Schreiter book, which is the 4 color personalities for MLM. I obviously am a big believer and use that same theory, actually not theory, but practice in talking with people and helping them with that. So if you're not familiar with it, go check out the Big Al Schreiter book on Amazon. I interviewed him on the show last year in 2023. So go check it out. We linked to the book on Amazon in his show notes. So if you're like, what is this? How do I find it? Go listen to his episode and make sure you click on that book, because it's fabulous. It's so good. So I love that you use that as well with people, because that is huge. Knowing your customers, knowing your team members, how they want, like the kind of language that's going to get them moving, the kind of language that gets them to feel connected to you is huge. So I love this. And we could keep going forever and ever, but we don't have time to do all that. So I may have to bring you back, Brittany, so that we can talk some more about this. But one thing I know that you were saying, I want to address one more thing two more things before we wrap this up. And I love that you said during the pre-interview that it doesn't matter how hard you work as a nurse, you were going to get paid the same no matter what. So yes. Talk about more of that.
So I still work full-time as a nurse. I don't have to. I mean, I really don't have to, but if I can do both, why not? I mean, why would I give that up quite yet when I still do love being a nurse. But I will say, nurses, we are really hard workers. It is really, really hard to get through nursing school. It's a lot of work. Nurses are overworked and underpaid. Overworked and underpaid, hands down, all across the world. That is just a fact. We are overworked and underpaid. And I know in my nursing job, I can go the extra mile. I can do every extra task. I can do all the things. And I'm not going to get compensated for it. It's just, you get a pat on the back. Brittany's a really hard worker. And when you work really hard, you know what you get? You get more work. More work. And I remember on job interviews back in the day, they would ask me what my strengths and my weaknesses are. And it's my weakness that I kind of had a zero tolerance for people who don't work that hard. It's like, I can work circles around other people and it drives me nuts. And that was my weakness, because I needed to understand that people don't have the work ethic that I do. And so in network marketing, the harder I work, I'm rewarded for everything that I do. I am either rewarded in a paycheck, I'm rewarded in a trip, I'm rewarded in points, I'm rewarded with recognition. Like there are so many ways to be rewarded in this industry. Whereas a regular job, they're just going to be like, well, she can do the work really fast and really good. So let's just keep giving her more work.
Right. Exactly. I don't know of any corporations out there that are handing out vacations, that are handing out vehicles or car bonuses or jewelry rewards or like designer purses. Like companies do all it in this industry, in the network marketing industry, they value recognition. And that is something that so many of us are not getting because as my own personal coach, Virginia, says, nobody was standing up and giving me a standing ovation for making dinner. You know?
Right.
And so she's like, but standing ovation in my business, yes, that happens now. Right. And so there are people out there who are driven by recognition. Right. And so that's a huge thing. So I wanted to point that out because there are so many people, especially nurses, and I come from a history of healthcare myself. I did not work in the industry, but I'm very closely associated with it. So I know a lot of nurses, and you are 100% on the nose with how hard they work, how much they care, and caring more and working more does not get them more pay. But they can certainly add to what they're doing if they took that work ethic, the time, the care that they put into their nursing, added a side business like this, whether it's Lime Life or something else. But if you're going to be a nurse working in the industry, you may as well talk to Brittany. Why not? Right. To be able to add to what you're doing, because I know there are a lot of nurses who are just like you were before you started in the industry, just getting by. And life is meant to be thrive. We should be thriving, not just surviving. And it sounds like you were in survival mode and now you're in thrive mode.
Yeah, I know that my job is not going to be sending me on an incentive trip every year on a beach vacation. And for me, as you know, a blue personality, a girl that likes to have a little bit of fun, that just wasn't in the cards. And so for me, it's like, if I know that I can work hard for a free trip, absolutely, I'm going to check all the boxes and do all the things to make sure that my toes are on the sand and on that beach.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So true. Now, Brittany, somebody has been listening to this. They want to get a hold of you. And when they get a hold of you, you're offering something that's really, really cool. Because I know you have a great story behind your own journey with Lime Life. So you're offering a 1-to-1 makeup consult or skincare consult. Tell us about that.
Okay. So originally when I joined, I really just wanted the makeup. I have been to every dermatologist since I was probably 12 or 13 years old. I've always struggled with really bad cystic acne, hormonal acne. Like I've been on every cream, every topical thing, every oral medication. You name it, I've done it. And nothing really worked for my acne. And so I'm no stranger to makeup. I was in dance when I was in high school, and I've used all high-end brands, and I knew that I wanted something that wasn't super cakey and that made looked really good, looked and felt like skin. So when I tried this makeup at this party, I thought, oh my gosh, my makeup has never looked this good in my whole life. And I had airbrush makeup at my wedding, and it didn't even come close to what this looked like on my skin. And so I originally joined for the makeup because it was a trusted brand. You know, this makeup has been used by professional makeup artists, celebrity makeup artists, like in the industry for, decades, right? And I knew that I wanted high quality makeup to cover my acne, to cover my skin, to cover it up. Well, in my starter kit came this skincare. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try it. Why not? It was free with my kit. And I fell absolutely in love with the skincare. And it actually helped heal my acne. It helped heal my scars. It helped heal my red, sensitive skin. And what I learned was, as they say in supplement world, nutrition world, when you consume those fruits and vegetables and you consume the food, your body absorbs it better. Same thing goes for your skin. So when you're using all these chemicals and creams and breaking down the barrier of your skin and you're doing when you use plant-based, natural, organic ingredients, your skin actually absorbs it differently and it works differently. And so I learned that when I joined, I just wanted this incredible professional makeup to cover my skin. I learned that I actually found something that was going to heal my skin and I didn't need to hide it. And as the listeners can't see right now, I'm in no makeup and I've never felt more confident leaving the house with not a stitch of makeup on because my skin is literally the best it's ever been in my whole life.
That's I love hearing that. So if you're listening to this and going, that sounds amazing, I would love to be able to do that. Brittany, how can they reach out to you to set up this one-to-one makeup or skincare consult?
So you can follow me on my socials. I have my Instagram handle, which I believe will be posted with. So my Instagram, my Facebook. I also have like an interest form I can give you the link to. And so that's pretty much the easiest way. I'm very active on all my social media accounts. And that's, primarily how I run my business. Unless it's like local, then I do pop-up events and stuff that are for people that are local to me. But for the most part, you can find me on Instagram or Facebook and you'll get a response pretty much immediately.
Sounds good. So Badass Crew, to go check the show notes because we link directly to her Instagram account, directly to her Facebook account. So that way you can connect with her. Make sure you let her know that you heard her on the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast. So she knows that her time here was well worth the time because you are reaching out to her. Now, if this is your first time listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast or any podcast at all, and you have no idea how to get to the show notes, all you're going to do is grab your phone, as long as you're not driving, click on today's episode, scroll just beneath Brittany's beautiful picture, and you'll see all the links there where you can connect with her to set up your own personal one-to-one makeup or skincare consult. And by the way, this podcast is worldwide. So Brittany, can you connect with people virtually or
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
so
fantastic.
I love doing one-on-ones over Zoom. It's like my favorite thing to do and doing skincare consults via one-on-one. And, it can even be a group thing. I've done it with multiple people. I've done it with my aunts and their friends, and it's a lot of fun. Just because technology has advanced so much over the years and it's really fun to hop on and learn new things and I can teach you new tips, tricks, and whatever it is that you're interested in.
Love it. Oh my gosh. So Badass Crew, make sure you click on that, set up your one-to-one skincare consult or makeup consultation with Brittany and go back and listen to this again because as you know, I'm a big believer that if you are listening to this, it's because the universe determined that there was something in today's episode that you needed to hear, whether it was about belief, whether it was about how hard you work at your corporate job versus your network marketing business. How are they going to reward you in each of those situations? Go back and listen and see what it was that really is driving you and connect with Brittany. So Brittany, thank you for being here and sharing your journey to your first 6 figures, because I know there are so many people in the industry who want to hit that milestone and you've done it. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me on here. And just, my last message is just don't ever cap your potential. Don't ever give up on yourself. And it just always goes back to that belief. Like, know that you can do it if you believe it. If you manifest that and know what's possible, just for me, seeing those checks climb just inspired me so much to take as many people on that journey along with me. It's more fun when you're doing it with people. And just don't ever forget your potential.
that. Oh my gosh. Yes. Don't ever forget your potential. I love that. Brittany, you have a wonderful, amazing day. Thank you for being here. And like I said, I'm pretty sure we're going to have to bring you back to keep talking about this because you have so much great information to share for people who are in the industry. And Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.